There's going to be a lot of jokes in this podcast today, so you guys be ready for this today, okay? So
I was Superman. I mean, no joke. I was Superman, and you were not convincing me. You know, I was the Man of Steel.
would you rather wear a full-size pink bunny suit to work once a month or have a leg lamp in the middle of your living room window? Would you rather stick your tongue to a frozen flagpole once or have to eat soap every time you see a bad word? Welcome back once again, dear listeners, to another major award edition of Talking a Christmas Story with the Cast. And I am your loyal host, Yana Wanaya, also known as you love him or you love to hate him, that little Tara Grover Dill from the movie A Christmas Story, and also who terrorized Hammond, Indiana. This is an exciting interview that I cannot wait to bring you because not only is today's guest a big A Christmas Story fan, but he also is a movie industry professional, and he has a lot of great insights into what goes into making an incredible movie that actually can appeal to all ages and stand the test of time. In fact, the kinds of movies he makes now are directly inspired by his love for A Christmas Story. So I know you're going to love this one. I'm glad we're talking about this topic today. A lot of the time we ask our guests, what makes A Christmas Story so special? Because all of us, I think, even if we can put our finger on exactly what it actually is, know that this film has something that a lot of modern cinema lacks today. And right now, I want to invite you to think about what that is with me. This film resonated with our parents' generation, with my generation, your generation. And when we show it to our kids, it connects with them too. At times, the generational gap may feel like a growing chasm and an uncrossable abyss. And yet there are stories that link us all together. And these are the kinds of stories that our culture needs. And I'm not saying that movies today aren't a lot of fun. They are. They're bold, bright, with graphics so dazzling that it can melt your eyeballs and explosions so loud that it can shake the popcorn out of your hands. There's really nothing wrong with enjoying epic tales of superheroes and space travel. We're human beings, and big, glorious dreams are innate to us, even if the subject matter is not. But another aspect of humanity that cannot be denied is the rapture we feel when a great storyteller speaks. Telling great stories is art, and it can be as formidable as a summer storm or as delicate as a snowflake clinging to an eyelash. You know, way back in the day, A Christmas Story showed us the power of an honest tale about a boy with a simple Christmas wish. Whether he was standing up to his bullies, right? Those little crazy bullies, Grover Dill and Scott Farkas, or getting in trouble for saying a bad word, or simply eating dinner around the table with his family, the story of Ralphie and his quest for a BB gun means something to us, something that goes deep. And this is the kind of power that today's guest understands. His vision for his movie production studio is to create heartfelt gems, movies that don't just dazzle us, they nourish us. He wants to tell the kinds of stories that could sit on a shelf right next to A Christmas Story that literally will speak directly to our hearts and the hearts of our children and the generations to come. And with that, I am so excited to introduce you the guest this week, Andy Turner. Andy Turner is the president and CEO of Rubicon City Studios, a movie production company that is revolutionizing the film industry by telling unique, untold stories with an ethical lens. Now, I'm going to stop introducing this guy and get right to it. So with no further ado, Mr. Turner. Who is listening, all of our podcast listeners, and also those who are on our YouTube channel watching A Christmas Story, talking A Christmas Story with the cast. Look at me, I'm just fumbling all over this morning because I'm a little intimidated by Mr. Turner. Just want everybody to know we go back a long ways. Just kidding. There's going to be a lot of jokes in this podcast today, so you guys be ready for this today, okay? So Andy and I go way back. I think till, was it 2013, 14, maybe something like that, right?
Oh, yeah. There's every bit of that.
Yeah, all of that. And he is one of the most humble and giving individuals that I have met through my career as an actor, being Grover Dill at events and talking to fans and so on and so forth. And he's just been a super incredible guy. And so because I'm kind of stuttering and I'm a little intimidated by this guy, Mr. Turner here, who is also the CEO of Rubicon City Studios, because he's going to be able to talk to you guys about that a little bit more in depth. But as everybody knows, listeners, Christmas Story fans, super fans, and also those who have not had a chance to watch the movie, we would always encourage you to do that. Do that a couple of times. Sometimes it may not resonate with you the first time, but I can guarantee you that when you continue to watch it, there's going to be something in that movie that's going to go ping and it's going to spark with you. And so we, as the cast of A Christmas Story, love to hear fans' experience of how it's impacted their way of life. And so, Andy, there's always the question to every fan, since you are a huge Christmas Story fan, which I'll let you express how you do this, how old were you when you were first introduced to the movie A Christmas Story?
I remember when it first came out in the 80s. I was young. I was born in 73, so that had me, 10, 11 years old when I first saw it. And I liked it back then. Now, the shame is you opened up against Rocky, and it didn't have the acclaim that it does now. But really, why it resonated with me is I love how Ralphie was a dreamer, and I've always been the same way. You know how he could picture things in his mind that weren't there, and I was the same way. I dreamed that I could fly. I was Superman, and when I was on my bicycle, I was Evil Knievel. So when I'd watch that movie, I could really connect with how he would dream about what his passion was, what he wanted in that Red Ryder BB gun, and then what he was going to do with it, and saving his family from Black Bart, and then how Dad made Christmas so special. Because I've always loved Christmas, and as you know, there's been years we put up 17 trees in our home, and absolutely love Christmas. And I've incorporated a lot from that movie, even with my children in their Christmases, and carried on the tradition, things that I've learned from watching you guys, and made it special for my family.
I I love that, and especially when we start to talk about when we were kids. This is also something that is so special to have as a memory, and within all of us, right? I think, and I would hope that all of us who love this movie have those times as children, if we were introduced to it when we were kids, where we were those superheroes. We were those firemen. We were those, cowboys and Indians. We were the cops and robbers. You know what I mean? And actors nowadays do their best to immerse themselves as that specific character, of course, using their own traits. But when we were kids, it was real. Like there was nothing else but that. And no matter where we were, if we were in the grocery store, if we were in the department store, if we were in the classroom, right, we were that superhero or that character. And, you're right. I think that, when Ralphie daydreams outside of, the daily grind of being a kid, being raised in the 40s, that essence of just being true to yourself and just, allowing those characters to overtake everything that we say and do and experience. And those are the special days that we still have. And I love that because it resonated with you so much of the things that you did when you were a kid. And I do know even that you have written a lot about that in your book. And as a matter of fact, Who Turned Up the Silence is Andy's new book. And I would highly recommend everybody read that because there's so many different aspects of what it used to be a child. And then, of course, life lessons and life, experiences that you personally have gone through with your family. And I think that there's a lot of pour over into a lot of people's challenges in life, regardless if it looks different than yours, there's always going to be those challenges, right? So, Ralphie being this master planner, this guy that is really doing his best to try to create this environment where people, adults, right? Because remember, adults were like authority and gods, and we always had to just obey, and yet we still wanted to disobey and be a rebel. And Ralphie did everything in his power to convince the adults that having a BB gun was okay, and
Right.
he always got beat up for that. But then, obviously, in the end, one of the most powerful scenes is where his dad knew the whole time. Like, his dad wanted him to go through those struggles of life because
Yes.
that was part of life, and experience what that was like to finally get what you want because you worked so hard for it without even asking
Right.
the main person, right? So,
Right.
I love that you brought that up, and all aspects that resonates with you the most.
One thing that you just said, Yano, that I think we've got away from is kids today no longer dream.
Yeah.
You think about it, everybody's in a phone, they're on a tablet. They're not outside pretending anymore. They're not pretending they're a superhero. They're not pretending. Everything is in their hand, and kids are maturing beyond their years. They're exposed to adult things at young ages, and they forget to just be kids, or not allowed to just be kids.
Yeah.
I remember for me, tying a towel around my neck, running around the yard. I was Superman. I mean, no joke. I was Superman, and you were not convincing me. I was the Man of Steel, and it's sad that kids have got away from just the ability to be allowed to dream and go out and play. Looking at Dad, it is good to let your kids struggle and worry and have those failures, because when you get the things, when it's given to you, how much greater is that joy? And one thing that I incorporated to me, Dad is the character that I love. Being a dad of four, I always have a gift that I hold out for my kids. And when they think Christmas is all over, I'll say, "Man, it is sad that we're as far away from Christmas now as we can be. All the presents are open, and then there'll be another gift. An hour later, and a couple hours later, there'll be another gift and another gift."
Yeah.
But I got that from the movie because he had the Red Ryder BB gun that was hid back behind the desk. What is that? And I like doing that because you carry Christmas on a little bit longer, a little bit longer. And my kids, they're grown now, and they still anticipate. Dad, you got another one? You got another one? And I see grown, my grown children still revert back to being children on Christmas Day, enjoying that magic that I learned from watching this movie. And we keep it on just the 24 hours when we're opening presents, when we're having our meal. I love it. It's playing and seeing you run up down the alleyway bullying people. And I love it, man. It's it's part of our life, but it also is part of my parenthood. It instilled in me things on how I wanted to be a dad.
And that's something that I'm glad that you brought up, because it is a question of mine. How has this movie impacted your life as a child, and how has it impacted the way that you parent? And I think that for a lot of the fans out there, I'm sure that this resonates with them, just like what it does with you. Is that The Christmas Story is a movie that's going to be on in the background, or you guys sit down as a family and actually watch it together. But typically it's always on during Christmas, because it is the American thing to do now, to have a Christmas Story
Right.
on in the background, because it's the tradition of Christmas. And as you love Christmas so much, when we think about Christmas, it gives us that feeling of being completely immersed in love, right? Because it's about giving to your kids, and about seeing the sparkle in their eyes, and about just doing things at that particular time of year that, is it just brings the family unit back together in a way that no other holiday tradition actually does. So when it comes to the traditions that you have instilled into your family. Talk about some of those to the fans, or even the fans that have not, or I should say those who have not even had a chance to watch the movie, how important it actually was for you to actually introduce those kind of traditions into your family's holiday.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you for that. We have a lot of traditions, and I think traditions are important. As you're going into the holidays, it's something that you're looking forward to, and anticipating sharing those one time a year. One time a year. Uh, One thing that I always do, because we're a religious family. We always read the Christmas story out of the Bible first thing, and keep everything properly aligned. I think a lot of families have lost that. But I always wanted to instill in my family what Christmas is truly about. And then through that, once we finish giving homage where it's supposed to be, right? And what Christmas is truly about, then we let our family look for the pickle. And I know you've heard of that one, Mr. Deal. They search for the pickle, and then whoever finds it, it started off as $1, and then it went to $20. Now it's $100 because my kids are grown and they got gas tanks to fill. It's $100, and they get to pick who opens the first present. And I apologize for getting emotional there, but thinking of the traditions and watching my family grow in the traditions and who changes and goes through it. But then through that, the things that I've picked up from the movie is how we extend our traditions and make them longer, and then add new ones. Pick up things that I want my kids, that long after I'm gone, that they are not going to compromise and do away with. Like, I've always done this. I'm doing this. I'm gonna read the Bible. I'm gonna keep Grover Deal. We're gonna hunt him every Christmas to see who gets to go first. And then how can I extend Christmas? I know my boys, for their family, will always hide a present and leave it out. They're starting to do it for me now. Let that sink in for a minute. They'll have a pile of presents that they're buying with their money, and I'll open up all of my presents, and then they'll be like, "Hey, Dad, what's that?" And then there'll be like a piece of paper. They'll send me on a scavenger hunt, and they're enjoying the traditions that I instilled in them, now doing it for me, and that swells up inside of me, seeing them take pride and joy in giving love back. Because as a dad, Christmas is fun by seeing the kid's face, right? They're opening a present, something they really wanted, like the BB gun, or your kid really wants that Xbox, and they want it. And you tell them, no, you're not getting it. It costs too much money. We can't afford it. And then you give them that Xbox, right? And they open it up, and they're jumping up and down. They're so excited. That pure joy of just being a kid. That's where the parent gets that excitement. But when you see your children now starting to do the same thing, you say, you know what? I've taught those kids right. So having those traditions that we've learned, that we've shared, and then seeing them passed down. And then, long after you and I are gone, those traditions will keep living.
Yeah.
And so we leave that legacy. And then our grandkids will pass those on and pass those on, because it's something that's bonding, that shares love. And man, what if everybody shared love like that? Wouldn't we have a better place, man?
Yeah, that's as that question is a very important question to ask, because that's one of the missions that we the cast will have with using A Christmas Story as that reason to continue to instill it, or to continue to reinforce that the values of what the movie has created in the family unit is something that we at A Christmas Story family want to really impress upon all of our fans, and give them the opportunity to create those kinds of traditions that naturally occurred in your family, but then also add additional traditions that they may have never thought about. I mean, imagine what it would be like on Christmas to, get a phone call or jump on a Zoom with the entire cast and play a trivia game or something to that nature. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, for one of
That'd be
those
awesome.
fans, that would be so much fun, right? Or even just to be more involved with the cast and we've got our full immersion experience. So to have these gift boxes that are coming in the mail and you open up this gift box for the whole family from A Christmas Story on Christmas Day, and then you have games and things to play with each other and creating that environment where it's not just the traditions that you've always had, but now you're adding more traditions that are fun, that are resonating, that are bringing that joy and
Absolutely.
passion right into the family. So
I can't imagine how that would be for the world. That I mean, this movie's everywhere. You can't go into a retail
you
store
can't
without seeing something with one of y'all's faces on it, or one of the the icons from the movie.
Mhm.
But knowing you for so long, and actually knowing everybody in the movie, I still enjoy it. Right. And I know y'all get sick of getting a text. Hey, I see you on TV. Well, no joke. I see me on there too. And my kids enjoy that. So if our family being this close to you guys enjoy it, the ones that are removed that's never had that experience, how much more would that mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. They would eat that up to be able to have that and then be immersed to hear the stories that I've loved hearing and hearing over and over. To be able to have that opportunity, yeah, that's priceless.
Yeah. And, for all the fans out there, Annie and I have been friends for quite some time. And I know that the magic of A Christmas Story has in some ways also inspired aspects of Andy's career path. So what is it about A Christmas Story that drove you to want to create films that are like that?
Yeah. Well, one, we know that culture influences society, right?
Hmm.
And Hollywood and music both has influenced society in such a negative way for a long time.
Yeah.
And I watched this movie, and it's not a movie that I wouldn't want my kids to watch, right? I don't have to sit down and explain to my children why something's happened in that movie that we don't necessarily align with, right? It's a good, wholesome family movie. It's funny. It's great. I mean, it's very well written. I want to make more movies that are like that are wholesome, that are family oriented, that brings people together, that there's nothing in it that divides people. Why make a movie that one person, one section of this country does not like?
Mm.
Why not make movies that draws everybody together, that everybody likes, that's wholesome, that delivers a good message, and that's family focused? So that's my desire with Rubicon, is to now promote and create films that does just that. That's got a moral theme, that promotes families, that draws people together, that shares love, that inspires people to go do better things, to be a better father, right? To
Yes.
do traditions with their kids, to follow your heart and go create your own life and your career path. Get out of the 9 to 5s, right?
Mhm.
To follow your dreams, to step out. So these are the kind of movies that I want to create, to help, to spread love, to encourage, and help create wealth for the people that do that.
That's amazing. That's an amazing answer, and thank you for expressing that, because that's so needed in today's society, specifically the way things are today. So, here on this podcast, when we do talk to people on this show, whether they're fans or just members of our team, or actually some of them are not fans, or even cast from the movie, right? We will always sometimes ask why A Christmas Story stands the test of time. You know what I mean? Arguably, it is more popular now than it has ever been. And for a lot of people,
Oh
it's the
yeah.
storytelling, right? Or the heart of it, or the simplicity that it is so powerful to them. Then on the other hand, in the film industry, it seems like movies don't always share those kind of qualities, right? So can you share some of your insider knowledge as someone with a production company? Why aren't people following in like Gene Shepard's or Bob Clark's footsteps?
That's very good. I don't really understand why people have got away from what we were taught that we know that works. I believe it was you and I not long ago were talking about when we come up through school and in our education, when you're marketing, if if you're making a widget, you market it to the person that buys that widget, right? Direct to your people. Why would you market it to somebody that's going to buy Kool-Aid, right? Has nothing to do with this piece that you're selling.
Right.
All of a sudden, our country wants to be politically correct. They want to get on political agendas. They want to make movies that fit an agenda, and they go against who their target audience are. And now they've lost a lot of America, and they're just making movies. Really, I mean, you look at Disney; their last four movies has lost $160 million each, and we're talking about a powerhouse, Disney. And the reason why is they're not making movies that appeal to the people that watch Disney movies, which is the family.
Yeah.
So for us, we want to make sure that we hit everybody, right? When you make a movie that it does not matter where you come from, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, doesn't matter the God that you serve, you can get on and watch this movie. You can be inspired, you can be encouraged, because we all really have the same goals in life, right? No matter where we come from, we want to be happy. We want to feel loved. We want to be successful
And safe.
And if there's movies in there that inspires those things, why are people not making more?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they not? Because the whole world wants them. The whole world needs them. The whole world needs encouragement. And plus, if you can do it with a large enough budget that you can do it well, then those will make money and we'll be successful, and people will be they'll gravitate to that. So the issue of why political agendas, we don't have those. We just really want to love people. We care for people.
Well, thank you for sharing to the world what your vision is for the type of content that you would love to be able to create. And of course, it's a shared energy. You know what I mean? Bringing the type of people in. Well, typically, when you start with that kind of vision, that's what you attract, right? And so eventually, they start to come your way. So I'm excited to see the future of what is produced by your company, because I'm excited to see something that actually resonates, kind of like what Christmas Story does. But I know that there's different genres, right? Which, that could be challenging in sometimes, but hey, that's what professionals do, right? Is create content that resonates across the board. So that's very exciting. Super excited for that. So, you are not just someone who grew up loving A Christmas Story. You're now in the midst of creating content that is in some way inspired by it. So, and on top of that, you're not just a guest on this show. As I've mentioned earlier, no, we go way back. So, what has it been like getting to know the cast of the movie and seeing how connected we are with the fans? So how does that resonate with you about what Christmas Story family does, or, your experience with the other cast members?
When I first met all of you guys together, it was in Cleveland. It was at a mall, actually. I'd flew up, met you guys at a mall, was able to eat dinner with everyone, and then was at the very first time everyone went to the house. It was somewhat surreal to be able to see everyone face to face. You weren't the little boys anymore, right? But it was very surreal, and it was a cool experience. But what I love now is the impact that you bring into lives, the joy that you share. From the last event that you had in Hammond, Indiana, where y'all had to turn people away. I mean, how amazing was that when they're lined up, where they just want to come and shake your hand. But you guys do something different, right? I've met a lot of celebrities, right? You have as well. Some are fantastic with fans, and some are like, not so great. What you guys do, you're stopping, you're answering questions, you're spreading love, you're creating a whole nother group of people that's going to fall in love with this with their children. You know, if you know, when I show up as a dad and I've got my, 10-year-old kid that's there, well, he meets you, he's going to watch that movie. Well, now he's in love with it forever. And there's another generation that's coming up behind that's staying in love with the movie. It keeps it alive longer. But every one of you guys, every single one of you are fantastic with the fans and spreading the love. And I was able to see one of the filmings that you had done and listening to the people's heart and how impactful it is just to hear from you guys and how you're giving back. So that's what I enjoy. Because basically you're doing the same thing that we have at our company and our goal and our vision, and you're doing it on that level. You're just spreading love and stopping and talking to people. And I know you. I mean, I like it when you come up and hug my knee, and I get to pat you on top of the head there, and we get to share those moments. But one thing I do know about you is you care about people, and we had the conversation. If we had just gobs of money right now just sitting here, you're like, man, look, why would I want to take it and spend it and buy all these things when I could take a small amount that takes care of this and then give the rest to help people? I know that's your heart. Yeah. And that's what I love about the cast. That's what I love about you guys, is that we share a common thread and vision to love others and to help inspire others and make their lives a little bit better.
Yeah. Very well said. And that was actually, you answered my next question. So that's perfectly well said. But I do want, you to speak on how this kind of crosses over to the audience about something from your heart. Like if let's just say that, because we do have large audiences of Christmas Story fans, and you got to remember that just because there's 55 million fans that have watched the movie, there's a large amount of those who have become this huge part of their life. And then there's also the rest of the world that has not had a chance to actually sit down and watch the movie. So from your heart, what would you tell those fans? First of all, those who resonate with the movie, and then those who actually have not had a chance to watch the movie.
Well, anyone that's never seen the movie needs to. I don't think I've ever met anyone who has not seen the movie. Everybody that I talk to has seen it. But if you have not seen this movie, you need to go and see it. It's a classic for a reason, and it'll be a cult classic forever. For the people who have seen it, I share your love and your passion. And what's amazing is you can sit down with so many fans, and the reason why each of us love it is different, and it's very vast on how and why it impacts our lives. Right now, I really resonate with Dad because I'm a dad, and I'm very sentimental on being a dad, and apologetic for that part. But other people will connect with a different thing. The comedy, the BB gun, the gun control, right? No matter what it is, people will resonate for so many different reasons, and they're there. And I think it's probably one of the best Christmas movies ever.
I know that there are a lot of things that about you that I could call that you're an amazing human being, and that you have put so much, thought and heart and hard work and blood, sweat, and tears into what you are creating with Rubicon City Studios and the crew that you have accumulated. I think one of those is having a clear vision, which you have, of what the world of movie production should be like, right? And you're not afraid to speak it to the world or do exactly what it is that your vision calls for. And to be honest with you, that's truly powerful, because there is no loss of integrity, right? There is no loss of humility in that thought process or that execution of what, you're doing. So thank you so much for, being that person in this industry that we need so much more of, and sharing with all of our audience. I want to take you to a strong internal moral compass and kind of put it to the test with a little game that we've created. That is a Christmas story themed, called Would You Rather? Okay, so are you familiar with Would You Rather, those games?
Well, yeah, my kids do these. I listen to them. Now, theirs are kind of harsh. So.
Okay. Okay. So just in case, I'll break it down for the audience that's listening or watching us. So, it has been a deep Rip Van Winkle sleep, right? So this is an example, a deep Rip Van Winkle sleep since 1983 when A Christmas Story came out. Of this is the first thing they're seeing after they woke up. So Would You Rather is a game where I give you two scenarios and you tell me which one you'd rather live with and then why. Okay. So first question. Would you rather wear a full-size pink bunny suit to work once a month or have a leg lamp in the middle of your living room window, fully lit up, curtains open for everyone to see all year round in your neighborhood?
Well, since I have a leg lamp already displayed year round, then that would be my choice.
Okay. All right. So next one. Would you rather stick your tongue to a frozen flagpole once or have to eat soap every time you see a bad word? Keep in mind that if you stick your tongue to the flagpole, all your friends will run away and leave you hanging.
Wow. I would say the soap. I can control my language.
Good job. All right. This one might be a no-brainer for you. Would you rather get a football for Christmas or a little Orphan Annie decoder pin that reveals ads from Ovaltine?
Oh, I want the little Orphan Annie decoder pin.
Now, I want everybody to know this. Andy's a huge football fan as well, and he played football when he was in high school and college. So for him to say that's huge. That's huge to have that little Annie, decoder pin. So I'm going to keep that in mind. So who would you rather run into in an alley? The Bully Scut Farkas or Grover Dill? Or the next door neighbor's pack of hounds? And remember, if we believe Ralphie, there are 785 hounds and they smell rank.
Oh, wow. I think I'm gonna take my chances with Scott. I saw a weakness when he lost the fight. I'm afraid of the little stocky guys. They have an advantage in a fight.
Well, now that you pointed out the weakness, there's also one with Grover Dill, right? Grover Dill tends to love to tell his dad on things when things get heated up. You know what I mean? So you might have action with getting rid of Scott Farkas. But later on in life, you never know. That little bully Grover Dill may come back because we don't know what kind of lifestyle he had after that movie. And that's something else.
He stayed in the gym. He's got some muscles. I don't think I want to have that fight.
And watch out for your kneecaps because they might get hurt.
Yeah, you tear my knee up.
All right. So would you rather your Christmas turkey be stolen by dogs every year, or every time you want to eat mashed potatoes, you have to eat them like Ralphie's little brother with no fork, just right to the face?
Oh man, I will little piggy eat it in front of everybody and enjoy it. No shame.
Right on. All right. Well, would you rather go back in time and be a kid again and get to open up presents on Christmas morning, or stay an adult and get to make your own kids dream of those Christmas mornings, or actually come true like the old man does for Ralphie in the end of the movie?
So that's a tough one. Because me growing up, I didn't have Christmas a lot. Santa didn't come. We grew up very poor. But I don't think anything can ever compare to watching your children have those moments. So I will keep that one.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a hard choice. That really is.
That is.
That really is a hard choice. Well, Mr. Andy Turner, it was a pleasure. We laughed. There was a couple of tears. We welled up. So that's truly amazing that someone of your stature shows that kind of emotion. And I know that comes from family and love for our family and love for our friends. And so, we truly respect that you show that to the world, because that's a huge, power that you possess. So thanks so much for sharing all your insights and bringing some joy to all of us and even some joy to those listeners that have not actually watched A Christmas Story yet. We're working on you guys. Promise me we're going to be here for decades, and eventually we're going to get into your living rooms. So again, thank you so much for everybody that has listened in. And if there's one thing, Andy, that you would love to tell your fans, your audience, our fans, our audience, what would that be to conclude?
Well, one, I want to thank you first. I'm humbled by your kind words, and much love to you, my friend. The one thing that I would want to tell everybody is share the love. No matter where you are in life, be kind. If you're hurting, if you're on top of the world, just be kind to people, because you never know where somebody is that day, and just a simple smile or a simple hug, a kind word goes a long way. Spread love.
Christmas Story fans out there who are listening and who are watching this channel or watching the video on the YouTube channel, do me a favor and share it, because podcasts like this is something that needs to be spread. When we talk about love and passion for big industry and love and passion for our family, I mean, I got to tell you that energy, that feeling of love, it doesn't matter what it is we're talking about. It could be changing the course, the direction of a country by bringing water to them. It could be
Absolutely.
just making a meal for your son that's sick. You know what I mean? That love is the same. And so share this podcast, share the love that we share with this movie and for family and friends. And I got to say that, for some reason, I'm getting this feeling that, Andy, you and I are probably going to be doing something in the future. And I want all the fans to kind of stay tuned to that. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but I think something is going to transpire just because we resonate so much on the same level with that one word, that one emotion, which is called love. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Andy, have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'm sure we'll talk soon. Okay?
Yes, sir. Take care, my friend. Thank you.
Talking to Andy about anything and everything today was an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much for being with us today, Andy. And hopefully we'll get to talk to you more about the work that you're actually doing and your insights into the industry very, very soon. As we draw today's episode to a close, we find ourselves looking towards the future with a keen eye on our past, learning everything that we can about what matters most to us as humans. In The Christmas Story, Ralphie teaches us that if we yearn for something hard enough, if we dream with all of our mights, our dreams just might become our reality. So what matters to you? A Red Ryder BB gun? A major award in your living room window? Or is it a warm home on a cold night filled with the laughter of the people that you love? Whatever it may be, hold on to it tightly. This episode is also such an interesting reminder of how important film can be. A Christmas Story and the movies Andy creates have inspired this conversation, and they will allow us to glimpse into what life could be like, but not just how it already is. Stepping into these movies, feeling like you're joyfully tromping down the stairs first thing Christmas morning with Ralphie just to open up all these presents, or giggling into your mashed potatoes with Randy. And that's what it is all about. But why stop at just dreaming, right? Why not live it for real? We at the A Christmas Story family are always trying to think of ways to broaden the scope of what fans can actually experience with us, whether it's through our wonderful events like the 40th anniversary in Hammond, Indiana, or through episodes of this podcast. We are super proud to bring you the A Christmas Story family Immersion experience. Now, I want to humbly invite you to step right into the magic of the movie itself, not just sitting on your couch watching the movie magic, but to live it with us. Now, imagine Ralphie's journey with the little orphan Annie scavenger hunt in real life. And that's not all. For the first time ever, we're offering a limited number of these exclusive gift boxes that are styled literally after the iconic leg lamp crate and filled with treasures that capture the heart of the film, including, for the very first time, an exact replica of the original leg lamp created by Reuben Freed himself. And I promise you, this could be yours for free, absolutely free. And we've been working on this for months, wanting to share it with you. So take a look at achristmasstoryfamily.com/free box to see how you can be a part of this very special experience with us. Join us and become part of a story that's been warming hearts for 40 years, because some stories aren't just meant to be watched. They are meant to be lived.
Who's next? That deal guy.